under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we remain standing, please. Tonight, I will do the invocation. I'm going to say a special prayer for the Mosley family. Miss Erin Mosley's father-in-law is in the hospital with a stroke. Dear Heavenly Father, again, we come to you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for guiding us here, bringing us here to this council meeting, and bringing the citizens here with us as we discuss issues in our county and how to make our county better. Lord, we ask that you watch over us and fill our hearts and minds with the things that's needed to continue to grow Chester and make it the great place that it can be. Then, Lord, we ask you to watch over the Mosley family and our fellow council member, Miss Erin Mosley, and her family as they pray and fight hard with their family member, their father-in-law, that he recovers from his health ailment. These and all other things, Lord, we ask in your Son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, to start off with, we have several things we need to bring off the agenda. So if you will, be with me tonight. I just had my eyes dilated about 2 hours ago, so if I ramble a little bit, just bear with me on that. So, okay, so I'm gonna need a motion to accept the withdrawal of B.R. Horton application from rezoning for properties associated with Magnolia Trace for tax map number 135-00-00-032-000. And also 136-00-00-042-000 and tax map number 135-000-019-000 and also for tax map number 135-00-00-020-000, which is on our agenda items 7C through F.
I make a motion with approval.
Okay, got a motion, got a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Got a motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Also, we got a motion to remove from the agenda 10C to receive legal advice regarding project 2341. That's in executive session. It's, we need a motion on that.
I make a motion that we remove item number 10C from executive session.
All right, need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All approved. Motion to remove, this is also on executive session, to remove, motion to remove agenda item 11C, action taken regarding project 2341.
I make a motion we rescind 11C, project 2341.
Second.
I second.
All in discussion? No discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Okay, moving along to number 3, approval of minutes, June 5th of 2023 council meeting. Any motion on that?
I'll move that we approve the June 5th, 2023 council minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
Second. We got a motion and a second, any discussion? Here, no discussion. All in favor of approving the June 5th council meeting, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay, under citizens' comments, I think we got one here. Was that Mark Howie?
Yes, sir.
You would come up and state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Yeah.
My name is Mark Howie. I'm Vice President of Community Development for York Electric Co-op. My address is 112 Hallett Street, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29715. I just wanted to thank you all for your time. York, I think you've got Fairfield that kind of serves the lower part of Chester County, and then we touch into a little bit of the northern part of Chester County. So we don't serve that many accounts here, electricity, but we just wanted to let you know that you have a contact if you have any issues. I know Chester's growing a lot like York County and Cherokee County, the other county, and Lancaster County, where we also serve electricity. So by no means are we a perfect utility, but we try as best we can. I've just been appointed to the I-77 Regional Economic Development Alliance too, so we'll be working closely with Robert and Chris on that. So that's all I really needed to say, and I'll leave a couple of cards if that's okay. If anybody has any issue, please reach out, and we'll try to help any way we can. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Okay. Moving here along on ordinance and resolutions, under A, 2023-14 resolution to give the service of weapons to John Trey Hunter III. This here is to where I think on this particular one here, though, if you have less than years service, they have to pay what it says that you're going to give them their weapon, but they have to pay half the price of that. So that's what the resolution says, but we'd like to have a motion for a resolution to give him that weapon.
I make a motion, we go with the resolution to give the service weapon to John Trey Hunter III.
All right? Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. All unanimous vote. And also, on the B is 2023-15, a resolution as a gift to the service weapon to Sandra Stinson also. And I think she in the same situation where she has less than 15 years, so she'll have to pay half that price, which was, let me see here. The cost on it is $441.72, and they gonna have to pay half of that. It's $200-some on that. So we need a motion?
I make a motion that we give the service weapon to Ms. Sandra Stinson.
Need a second?
Second.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay, all righty. Okay, moving along to C, the second reading of 2023-15, amending ordinance number 2018-11 as amended and clarified by ordinance number 2022-13 to provide for the allocation of the fee in lieu of taxes revenues for some properties located in Chester County and provided for other related matters. Need a motion on that?
I move that we approve the second reading of 2023-15.
All right, need a second?
Second.
And got a motion and a second. Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. Unanimous vote. All right, moving along to the administrator's report. Mr. Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, Mr. Chairman and council members and members of the public. I'll start off just by backing up to D.R. Horton real quick, and I did get an official withdrawal letter today at about 4 o'clock from D.R. Horton. That's been provided to our clerk as well, so they've chosen to withdraw from the process along with the landowner for their application for rezoning.
Did they give you a reason?
They did, and I'll just state what their letter states. Due to the delays in rezoning and the new developmental fees, D.R. Horton and the property owner have decided to no longer continue the project. So, real quick, I'll probably be the most lengthy one tonight, I apologize. But real quick, let me just, June 5th, the week of June 5th, on June 6th, I did send out an administrator's report. And just if you haven't got a chance to look at that yet, it explains the situation with our fire trucks, the potential questions that arose during some of the budget workshops about upgrading the current order of fire trucks and so forth and so on. And I provided council with, I think, a pretty lengthy, in-depth explanation of that, as well as reasons to support that we're going to stick the course at this point because it comes down to dollars and cents and the amount of money that it would cost us. And it was quite hefty for each truck if we made any changes at this point. So there was a little bit more information about our process and what needs to be corrected with that, but that's been taken care of. And then I went into a little information about Rodman Sports Complex and some questions that came up to me about specific infrastructure type issues with the bid, and I just addressed those in the report. So if you have any questions with regard to those things, please feel free to reach out to me and I can get a little more in depth. Rodman, just an update. The pre-bid is due tomorrow? Bid opening is tomorrow. Okay. So the pre-bid process is completed then? Thursday. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. And then I talked a little bit about Commerce Drive. So if you have any questions with regard to that, please feel free to call me or email me and I can discuss a little bit further. I did attend the June 13th ad hoc committee meeting for the Burnt Meeting House Cemetery and met with that group to kind of discuss the cemetery and its condition and what the county's plans were and to listen to their plans. So it was a very good conversation. And just so you know, David, can you pull up any of those pictures? Okay, you got them up. So if you guys all look at the monitors in front of you, I didn't know these worked, sorry about that. This is a before picture, and then if you go ahead and flip to the next one, this is after Public Works spent 2 days out there as of this far, so they got most of the brush cut down. And again, with extreme care being taken to preserve the markers and to be careful. We're going back in with some herbicides to work on the vegetation, then we're going to work on the fence and the surrounding area. Ms. Winters is working on an agreement with Mr. McWaters, the property owner there, with regard to an easement to make sure that we take everything into consideration. We did put a couple of signs up. If you get any calls, if council gets any calls, we put a couple of signs up saying it was closed for maintenance. And that's just due to the fact that there was a lot of trees, limbs, and things that were down. And so until we get it back to where we feel it's safe for somebody to go in there, we're going to keep those signs up. Go ahead and go to the next. So I haven't done this before, but I wanted to take a minute tonight and just say thank you to some of our county employees. And so with that comes our public works, our maintenance guys, our grass, lawn guys, actually I think all of them went out and worked on this, as well as Burnt Meeting House Cemetery. But just taking the time and working hard. And if you take a look at this picture, I don't have a before picture. I wish I did, but you all that have been out by the gateway, you know what it looked like about a week and a half ago. And it was troubling. Go ahead and flip to the next one. So it's been cleaned up all the way down. They're going to put some herbicide down where the fence is as well. And we're going to maintain this now so that we don't have to go through this every 6 months or so. So it shouldn't be that difficult to maintain until we come up with a long-term plan with the Gateway Maintenance Group to potentially handle this now that it's in order. So thank you to Public Works for taking care of that, taking care of the Burnt Meeting House Cemetery, and getting on those things quick. Go ahead and flip to the next one, please. So I want to just recognize animal control for a minute. We know that our animal control personnel, they have a heavy presence on social media. And I didn't realize how heavy, I'm not a social media person, but until I went and looked at how many people actually view, like, share, and comment on their material. But this story in particular just says a little bit about what our animal control is doing. And I'll give you just a little number. Last month, they took in 122 dogs, and they got rid, I shouldn't use got rid of, but they exported 97 dogs. So that means they went to homes. They weren't euthanized. I don't want to use the word got rid of. But 122 came in, 97 went out the door, right? Alive, okay? Because some people go, well, they euthanized them. No, they went out alive. So with that, that takes a lot of work. There's 3 animal control officers, a director, and there's a shelter coordinator. But this lady that you see in the picture, she flew here from California, all right, paid for a plane ticket. She's a retired 30-year Navy veteran, and she now is a contractor with the Navy. But she saw our Facebook page, and she saw this dog. And go to the next page where the dog was displayed. So that was our Facebook page with the dog, okay? And she fell in love with the dog. She flew here. She adopted the dog, rented a car, and her son drove 35 hours back to California. So, to me, that's pretty amazing when you're getting people coming from California to get a beautiful dog. But anyway, so I just want to say hats off to them. Their average population, they're really working on getting that population down. If you look at their Facebook and their pages, they get 600 to 700 likes on every one of theirs. They've really done a good job. They've had a lot of change with me coming into the administrators, and they've accepted that, and they really are striving to work hard and work in the right direction. So hats off to them. Hats off to our Public Works. And then the last one I'm going to say thank you to is Molly. She's our recycling coordinator. And Robert gave me a little letter, and it was about something that she had done. And I appreciated the fact that he recognized this. So just bear with me just a minute while I'm going to try to breeze through it. But she came into her position in March. I think she started like a week before me. And she knew that it was going to be a lot of learning and kind of an uphill battle coming from a larger city. But with that, she wanted to do her part with regard to recycle and citizens in our county that wanted to recycle. And so after correcting the recycling signs at all the convenience sites, sending updated information to IT department website and social media pages, they did see a little bit of increase in interest in recycling in our county. And so she went from a few phone calls a week to several a day about how, what, where, and when people could recycle. She's been able to make some great contacts at South Carolina DHEC who have helped her succeed, along with help from fellow employees. They've been able to give her direction in the biggest hurdles and how to get over those and handle pushback from citizens who were uninterested in recycling. She said one of the great and awful things about Chester is you don't have to recycle. It's not mandatory or required for citizens. However, those that do want to tend to push friends towards the recycling, and it gains more momentum. So through a contact at DHEC, and this is the good part, she explained to them about education seemed to be one of the biggest problems that we faced. And she only started the recycling program back in January, or it started back in January. She needed a way to educate the public fast and easy. They suggested brochures, which we did, and then she said, I need something bigger, something the public can see, and that's when they said that they sponsor billboards. However, she had missed the deadline because it was back in December for this year for billboards. She was able to talk South Carolina DHEC into paying for a billboard after the deadline had passed and after they had already paid for those billboards. And so they paid for a billboard. She had to find a location. She found one out here on J. Cochran Bypass. And there was a billboard that was put up, and based on that billboard's been up now for 2 weeks, and she's seen an increase in number of pulls of the commingle recycle containers in the past weeks. from the previous months, just over that. So just, I mean, that's, you know, putting the right people in the right positions and getting employees who are extremely passionate about what they do is the key to our success. So I think it's important that, you know, sometimes we recognize them here to the public and to council as well. So with that, that concludes my administrator's report.
Let me mention one thing. You mentioned something, next Tuesday is the budget, special call meeting.
Monday, yes, sir, the 26th.
Monday.
Yes, sir.
I just got back from the beach and spent 2 days talking to every fire truck manufacturer down there. And we do not want this L9 engine. So Monday, when we have this conversation with the budget, that's what we asked about. Let's have this conversation a little bit further than what we've got going on now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I just, I do say in the meantime, read what my report outlined about those engines, and I don't know if we can even get any other engine.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I'd like to say, thank you, Mr. Hester, for that. That's about the most positive report we've had in a long time from Chester County Council on that, and a lot of that stuff that we wouldn't be aware of that was happening if it hadn't been for you telling us about us. And congratulations to the lady in the, that works in the recycling center for her, all that she did on that. And whose crew was that cleaned that fence line up down at the gateway? Is that yours, Robert, or Joe Roberts? Your crew. Congratulations. I moved that, cleaning that road out from about number 10 to number 1 after those people down there had that, about 200 or 300 people from a flower group coming in there and rented the gateway, and it was terrible. And I was there while y'all were in the process of cleaning it up, but I hadn't seen it, but from the pictures, it looks wonderful. And thank you for that. And it took a tremendous building and facility that we have down at the gateway, and it improved it a whole lot by just that entranceway in that. So when we get that driveway completed and the turn lanes and stuff in there, I think it's going to improve it that much more. But I'd like to say, just as on my part, and I feel sure council feels the same way, that thank y'all for the hard work you've been doing, and thank you, Mr. Hester, for getting that done.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, you realize what the day is for Mr. Hester?
Let's see, the day is
90
the 20th.
days.
It must be the 20th, and he came on March the 20th, so it must be some type of an anniversary today.
Well, it's only 3 months. It feels like about 20, but, you know, but it's 3.
Yeah, well, I think we also had for your assistant there, she says that coming to work for Chester County, says she didn't even realize, she gets to come to work and before she knows it, it's dinner time. So she's a lot to be done, and she says there's a lot out there to keep her busy. But I assured her, give y'all about 6 or 8 months, and y'all will have it where it'll be a breeze. It'll just be a normal day, but I feel sure there's a lot of things that need to be addressed, and thank y'all for addressing them in the right way.
Yes, sir.
Also, with your administrative report, Mr. Hester, D.R. Horton, in their letter that they sent you, I think in the past I heard you say that you had a verbal commitment from them before now? So now, they had a verbal commitment, then all of a sudden, they decided that they didn't?
That's correct.
Okay.
2 verbal
Just making sure-
commitments.
Yeah, I was making sure I heard that right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, any further comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to old business. On the A and the second reading of CCMA 23-06, E&J Gallo Wine request a 0.24 acres of a portion on tax map 165-00-066-000 on or near Highway 21, which is Catawba River Road, to be rezoned from Limited Industrial District ID2 to General Industrial District ID3. Planning Commission voted 6-0 to approve. Need a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to uphold the planning commission on this.
We got a motion, need a second?
I'll second.
Second, okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion or comments? Hear none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Okay, for the second reading of CCMA 23-08, Clifton Crowley, request tax map number 069-05-25-002-000 at 527 West White Street, Chester, South Carolina, 29706, to be rezoned from multi-family residence district RG1 to general residential district RG2. Planning Commission voted 6-0 to approve. Any motion?
I'll move that we approve the second reading of CCMA 23-08.
Got a motion, and I got a second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Vaughn. Any questions or comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. Unanimous vote, favor. Okay, proposed, moving down to G, proposed amendment of the Gateway District Enabling Act, Administrator, Mr. Heston.
So the Enabling Act was actually approved through an ordinance. So you've all been provided in your council packets the proposed changes to the Enabling Act. They're highlighted in yellow, should be highlighted in yellow on in your packets as well. I can answer any questions you have with those, but if you accept those changes to the Enabling Act, then you can make a motion to accept this as a first reading in name only as well, because it will take 3 readings to go through. So I'll be happy to answer questions. Really, the main changes, and I've worked within, and you got many members of the steering committee are here tonight to represent the Gateway Steering Committee, but I've worked with them over the past probably month and a half, Ms. Jennings, 2 months, to really kind of gain an understanding of what their role was, how they viewed their role, the changes that they were seeking, and to kind of come up with a better, a more efficient way for them to communicate, and the advice that they wanted to provide to council made it through in an efficient way. So we've sat through many meetings and emails and discussions, but if you look, the main changes are to allow up to 4, they can have a total of 13 members, and to allow up to 4 members at any time on the committee that do not reside in Chester County. However, those members, if you choose to allow 4 to do that, they have to have a vested interest in Chester County. What is that vested interest? That's up to you as council to decide before you approve those members. But an example of that would be a business owner in Chester County, a landowner in Chester County, someone who's grew up, lived in Chester County, or worked in Chester County their entire life, but may reside in Lancaster, York, or someone else, but still feel passionately about the growth of the Gateway area. So that's one of the changes. They'll serve their each member shall serve its 2-year term. Anyone seeking to maintain that seat beyond expiration may be reappointed by council with approval from council. At the end of the day, council still has approval on all reappointments. Now, the Enabling Act did state, and anyone correct me if I misinterpret this, but it did state that the original members can serve out until they are done serving. And that was the way I read it. So they could continue to serve past 2-year terms, but I still think that council has the ability at any point in time to if they don't feel like someone is doing what they want them to do, that you would have the ability not to reappoint them. Am I right in that, Ms. Winters, my interpretation?
Yes, sir. Section F.
So, when we vote to approve this, we're gonna be approving what you've just mentioned, but with there could be other changes to it. Is that what you're saying? Or is it?
No, sir, I'm not, there's no other changes. I was kind of getting down in the weeds of how the membership worked, because the members who were originally appointed, the original Enabling Act gave them the ability to serve as long as they wanted to. Now, there is a emeritus status as well, that an original member could serve. But the way, just so everyone's clear on the way the appointment works, is at the end of a term, if a member, if the committee, it's the committee's job to recommend for either that person to stay on the committee or to replace them with someone new. The committee makes or someone on the committee makes the recommendation to the committee votes on it, and then they present it to myself to present to council to vote on. Council can also make recommendations, however, based on this Enabling Act. So if that, hopefully that clears that up a little bit. The only other things that were really changed was with regard to sort of, let's just call it the reporting structure, whereas they reported to the Planning and Zoning Committee. And then the original changes had them reporting directly to council, and we agreed that they would just provide that information, the recommendations, to me as the administrator. And I try to attend as many of their meetings as I can as well. So, any other questions on that from me?
I see the part in there about the minutes to county council as well. So those are going to come to us. You're going to put them in our packet or in our iPad. I wonder if you could throw them in the agenda packet for the next agenda, even if it's not on the agenda. That way, we'd be sure to see them. You see what I'm saying? That would be helpful. So sometimes when they get put in our iPad, it's easy to forget to look at them. So if it's in our agenda packet, we'll be sure to see it.
Okay.
So when we vote tonight on accepting the proposed amendments on it, will be that they have up to 4 members that they can select that lives outside Chester County that has vested interest in Chester County, correct? And also, any recommendation has to come back through you, and then you present it to council, and then the council approves anything that, any recommendation that they may, or turn down any recommendation they may have. Is that correct?
That is correct. Council has final say on members.
Right. Okay.
And just for council's information, there are 2 current openings, and I believe there's about to be 3. Is that correct, Ms. Jennings? Did I state that right? Two current, Mr. Crenshaw, is that right? Okay. So there's 2 current openings. They have, if this goes through, they will have individuals that will fill out applications, and then those will come before council, future meetings.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the amendments as described by Mr. Hester.
In title only.
Yeah, I'm
In-
sorry.
In the form
In
of.
title only.
Title only,
That's first reading.
Yeah.
first reading. It will take 3 readings on this.
Yes, sir, because the Enabling Act was originally passed by ordinance.
Okay. That's why we have to do it,
Yes, sir.
follow suit with that.
I'll move that we approve the proposed amendments to the Gateway District Enabling Act in title only.
Need a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of passing this as entitled only, the Gateway Enabling Act, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Unanimous vote. Okay, proposed amendment for the Littleton ordinance. Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, anybody knows anything about me knows that I can't stand litter. And ever since I came on council, that's been something that I've worked on. When I first came on council, we did a revision of the litter ordinance, the county litter ordinance, trying to put some teeth in it. And one of my main wishes was that if a person was convicted of littering in Chester County, that they be sent by the court to pick up trash in the county, to be put out on the street, picking up litter, in hopes of changing their attitude about that and maybe starting a cultural change that would reduce litter in Chester County. Now, that was my intention, but there has been some problems with that. There's a line in the ordinance about, and the changes we've made are trying to rectify some of these problems that we've identified in the process in the past 4 years. The first being a line that says that a person that is sentenced to pick up trash on the side of the road because they littered, it shall be under the supervision of the court. Well, it turns out that the state of South Carolina has, what was it, amendment
Yes, sir.
to their statute that says that a person that's picking up trash because they were sentenced to, they don't need supervision. They're on their own, and they cannot hold a county liable or a court liable or anybody else. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Nobody can be held liable for this person out picking up trash having some sort of incident. So that solves a problem in that when we wrote the first revision and said, which shall be under the supervision of the court, we didn't think that that would cause a problem, but it did, because we didn't fund anybody supervising these people. We didn't have any funds for the magistrates to do it, and we didn't have any funds or have any kind of plan for the county to supervise them. But this takes that out, getting rid of that line and adding another line that states that a county can't be held liable.
That's right, at the end.
That eliminates that. So we took that line out. Now, there's another problem that has arisen or been identified by the process is about the discretion of the court. The court, the way it's worded on page 270 on number 1, bear with me. It reads, in the sound discretion of the court in which conviction is obtained, the person may be directed to pick up and remove from any public street or highway or public right-of-way for a distance not to exceed 1 mile any litter, loose material, or solid waste the person has deposited, and any and all litter, loose material, and solid waste deposited thereon by anyone else prior to the date of execution of sentence. My question is, and this will be you, Ms. Winters, why is that may be, not shall be? Can we change that shall be?
We can change it, but the magistrate's court, judges are appointees. And as you and I discussed, it's at their discretion, it's their courtroom. And so I think we need to maybe, and you and I talked about this,
Yeah.
ask the Attorney General if the magistrate court does have that discretion. I don't believe they do, they believe they do. And I've prosecuted a number of these tickets and have seen magistrate judges reduce the fine, which our ordinance says they cannot. I've seen them throw out the fine, which our ordinance says they cannot, but they believe they can. So I think if we get an AG opinion, we can solidify that a little bit better.
Okay, so I think the next step after we make these revisions is to ask the Attorney General for his opinion on whose rules the magistrates are to follow, the states or the counties. And if I'm not mistaken, the county ordinance originated under home rule, did it not?
Yes, sir, it did.
Well, that kind of makes it clear to me that
Yeah.
they ought to be following the
Home
county.
rule, right.
And that's what I'd like to see happen. We also, there were places in here where it mentioned the county supervisor, and of course, there's a lot of revisions and a lot of ordinances or documents where we have to change from supervisor to administrator, and we've tried to do that also, but I would like to see us make these revisions as a first step and get the opinion of the Attorney General in hopes that we can, when a person is convicted for throwing out trash, and the convictions, if they're convicted of throwing out illegal dumping a lot of trash, they get a lot of time picking up trash. It's commensurate with the seriousness of the crime they do. But I would like to see Chester County have a good, strict ordinance that will hopefully change the culture that says it's okay to toss your beer can out the window. And I think everybody and every citizen in Chester County will be in favor of that.
Mr. Vaughn, I don't have any issue with them picking up trash. But my question is, who is liable? If they get hurt out there, they get killed out there, is the county liable for that?
No, sir. That was a surprising thing that I discovered in looking at this. And, Ms. Winters, if you could read that.
Sure. It's at the end, Mr. Agee, at the end of the proposed changes, and it says, "Nothing in this section shall be construed as granting any cause of action against the state, any political subdivision," which is what we are, "or any employee thereof acting in their official capacity to an individual performing community service," which is what the judge orders, "under this section, who is completing litter pickup without direct oversight." So in other words, this individual's out there on their own, and so there's no liability, no cause of action, including any claim under workers' compensation. Routine follow-up to ensure completion of litter pickup by a county, municipality, or state employee is not considered oversight. So as long as that person's out there without any oversight and they're injured, that provision says that there's no cause of action against a political
That's
subdivision.
a state ordinance?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
state law?
Yes, and it'll be part of our ordinance.
That brings up a good point. If you look at the state ordinance has got some teeth in it.
Yes.
Every conviction at whatever level requires sentencing with community service, picking up trash. And so I think if we hear that the magistrates have to go by the state ordinance, they should be convicted of putting people on the road picking up trash. We got a lot of issues to deal with on that, and I think the Attorney General's opinion will solve a lot of problems.
Who is going to verify that they out there picking up trash? Is our litter control officer going to do that?
The court actually requires photographs, Mr. Branham. We made sure that was in the ordinance the first time.
All right, okay. Mr. Vaughn, you don't need any caveats to what, just the amendment, for the proposed amendments? Or
Yeah,
is that's
I'll-
going to be your, is that going to be your,
I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed amendments as they are, and with the follow-up of asking for our Attorney General's opinion on whether the magistrates are to follow state statutes, and if they are, they should follow them explicitly, and if they are not required to, they're required to follow county ordinances. Let's have them do that.
And this would be first reading.
Yeah.
so that would be?
No,
the
wait, they have a
proposed
document.
Follow up with the Attorney General, correct?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, got a motion? Need a second?
Second.
Second, got a Mr. Wilson? Okay. Got a second by Mr. Wilson. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Unanimous vote. Thank you. Okay, under new business, council to approve bid RFP 2223 -12 for janitorial service to TJ High Quality Cleaning Service of Chester, South Carolina, in the amount of $8,454.45 per month for 10 locations. Ms. Coe.
Good evening, council. We did evaluations, and we also talked with Mr. Hester about this. We are actually we have chosen The fourth lowest bid on this, bid. So that would be TJ's High Quality Cleaning. They are out of Chester. I don't know if you have any questions for us on why we chose the fourth one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and explain that.
Okay, the lowest one, Ms. Terry's, she would not be able to clean the buildings for that amount. I actually talked to her last time that she bid on this and explained to her that because she would have to buy all the chemicals, the cleaning equipment, which is the, like the mops and the buckets, plus the vacuum cleaners and everything you need for that, plus pay employees, plus the vehicles to bring her employees here. There is no way possible to even get that done, so that's just common sense. I don't believe that they'll be able to do the job that needs to be done for that low of a price. We couldn't even do it for that price. It's not possible. Chano and Sons, they're out of Tennessee, so we are very leery about using a company out of Tennessee. They would have to get, if we had any problems with them at all, we're going to have to call them from Tennessee. How long is it going to take the owner to get here and work out any kind of problems that we have? It's going to be very hard to deal with them. Clean Out of Charlotte, is who we've had for the last several years. We've given them chance after chance. Unfortunately, they're not doing the job that is needed to be done. So we're not looking to hire them back. So the next one in line is TJ's High Quality Cleaning. They are the next lowest. They are a local company. They have not been in business a long time, so we're hoping that they will be able to do a good job. He does have, I have called references of his. They gave him high, very good references on his work. So we're hoping that he will do a very good job for us. We will have the same kind of contract we had last year, where if he does not do the job that we are wanting from him, that we can cancel the contract in a short amount of time, and then we can go to the next one, which the next one in line would be Interstate Facility Services. So, do you have any other questions for us?
Which 10 buildings are these?
It will be, let me find the right paperwork. Oh, you got it right here. It will be this building here, the government building, the Chester War Memorial Building, Chester County Courthouse, Family Court, Health Department, DSS, voter registration, EMA, DJJ, and the airport.
And the most expensive, they're not all equally priced, Mr. Guy.
They had to give us a price per building.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was the unique part of it. The War Memorial and the courthouse are actually most expensive. I think this building's the third most expensive. Is that right?
Yes, the courthouse was the most expensive. This was the second.
Okay. So how many days a week do they actually come in this building and clean this building?
This building is twice a week.
And
What about the other building?
Memorial
Three.
Building twice, courthouse twice,
A month.
family court twice a week. Yep. So all of them, with the exception of EMA, DJJ, and airport, those three are once a week. All the remaining ones are twice a week.
how long do they normally take to clean this building?
And those smaller ones are relatively inexpensive. Well, we're only judging by the company that's been doing our service, and there's been so many problems, even since I've been here in the 3 months with that company. I think they're in and out of this building in 2.5 hours, probably.
Less than that.
Probably less than that, but that's because they don't do what they're supposed to do as well. The garbage isn't getting taken out, and
sticks out to me is we're talking over $100,000 a year to clean up 10
It's
buildings.
right at $100,000 a year for 10 buildings, that's correct.
Yes.
So,
Then another thing that stood out to me is a $75,000 variance between the bids. You got $70,000 in between. You got on the low end, then you got over.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a big variance. Are we sure that this company can, with that big of a variance, are we sure that this company can?
No.
I don't know
We
that-
can't be sure until we use a company. That's,
I don't know that we can be sure on any. I think that the logic behind it, look, the real question is, can we hire people to do this and pay them
That
ourselves?
was my next question.
Not really, it wasn't really, at the point we were with the budget, at the point we were with this contract, for us to realistically try to hire and take the chance we didn't have a contract. But there is the ability for us to, at some point, have our own cleaning personnel. But I think the goal this year was we've got to keep these buildings clean as well and we're going to give this TJ's a shot. We had a long conversation about choosing.
We did.
And so Miss Terry's, I don't know Miss Terry, but I know she can't clean these for $1,800. The one out of Tennessee had no employees here in South Carolina to use. They were going to have to hire employees and get them in position, and then they're also out of Tennessee, so that makes it a little more difficult. And then CleanNet, who we currently have, and then TJ's was next in line. So there was some, TJ's is newer, but they really liked he's very passionate about it and seems to be a go-getter. And I think I do agree that that's our best logical choice to get the best service for the money.
Do you know if TJ's has a portfolio of other people that they clean, other places?
She can.
I just have the reviews that I emailed the companies, and they gave me reviews by email. They were very pleased with, the only thing
So
that,
they do have other customers?
yes.
Yes.
The only thing that they don't have is a large, as many buildings as this one has. That's the only downfall. Like I said, he's only been in business for a few years, but that doesn't mean he can't do the work. We would take that risk with anybody we hire.
So he's been in business for years, because y'all made it kind of sound like it was weeks, but.
No, a few years.
No, a few years.
Yeah, about 4 years. So,
I mean, the good thing is you can try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll back out of it.
Yep.
So that's,
And that's kind of our discussion is, we're going to give him a shot.
Yeah.
And then, I think long-term, though, there's a lot of contractual, there's a lot of contracts with the county that we need to take a look at. Can we hire our own employees?
Mr. Hester, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
The EMS building is cleaned by the employees.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mr. Ramsey's building is cleaned by why are we cleaning EMA?
I can't answer that right off, other than the fact that a lot of your fire and EMS, from that line of work, when you work a 24-hour schedule, you're not always humping fire calls. And it's kind of tradition that fire and EMS clean their facilities up as well. But I can't give you a good, solid answer on EMA.
Only reason I asked, Mr. Barkley asked two people, basically. He and Ms. Brewer. I don't know why they're paying, there are 3 or 4 people over there in EMA, and there's 2 in Rule 5. I'm just curious.
I can't give you any other answer than that right now. Other than, I will say that rural fire does have part-time firefighters that do come to the station and work out of that station as well. And I think that's part of the part-time firefighters, part of their responsibility.
So will Mr. TNA, will they be supplying the cleaning chemicals
Yes, they'll supply the chemicals. We provide the trash bags and the paper products. So they'll have to supply everything to go along with that. And we'll have a meeting with them prior to them starting. They should be starting on the 31st, actually, because that'll be a Monday, the 31st of July. That'll give them time to get, make sure they have the employees ready to start. If they can start sooner, we'll get them sooner.
Is floor waxing and stuff like that included, or is that an extra charge?
Waxing, no, that's an extra charge.
That's an extra charge.
Yes, so they'll mop and they'll vacuum and mop and, clean all the bathrooms in all the buildings.
What's our process for, checking up on them to see what the performance is looking like?
Well, we have, all the employees that work for the county will be checking up on them. Yeah, we
I was
have-
thinking more about the memorial buildings, in particular Great Falls, because I've seen the Great Falls Memorial Building left in horrible shape, and then the next person would come in to rent it, and it would create problems. They would, take pictures to prove that they weren't the ones that messed it up, and supposedly it had been cleaned in between. So, I was wondering about that.
Yes, sir, I can, I can answer that question. On Fridays and Mondays, on Fridays, a person goes down from building maintenance and inspects it and makes sure it is ready. And if it's not ready, the maintenance department is in charge of making sure it gets cleaned before it gets rented out. And then we make notes on it and get back with the cleaning crew.
Yeah.
That's the way it's
Okay.
done.
And I have seen, I get phone calls when we don't give people their deposits back because they leave a mess too. So we do follow up with it.
Good.
How much is that deposit they have to put up to rent one of the buildings? $500?
Which one?
Well, the Great Falls and also the Chester Memorial.
Don't quote me on it, but I believe Great Falls is $600 and a $300 return or $200 return.
I don't know about the return.
Yeah, if it's, if it's found to be
But
clean.
if we have to go in and send your crew down there to do
Then
it,
they don't get their
they
return.
lose the whole deposit.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
Can we look at I know we're trying to do, we had to make sure we have something this year because of budget concerns, but can we look at trying to maybe get some employees to kind of do some of this stuff next year?
I know we've already done that. We actually had, the beginning of this fiscal year, we actually had some jobs posted, 2 jobs posted. We had a few people apply, but they weren't very qualified at all. And for the money we were paying, we did not get very many people to actually apply. Technically, I would say you would want to have 3 people because it takes 2 normally to clean some of these larger buildings, and then you're going to have one that's on vacation, one that's sick. You could possibly do it with 1, but 3 would be good. But you're also going to have a vehicle. You're going to have the insurance on the vehicle. You're going to have all the cleaning supplies we would have to purchase. We're going to have the equipment, the vacuum cleaners, and all of that. So you're going to have to take all of that into account versus putting it out for bid and having a crew come in here. So you're going to have to weigh the cost of both.
Yeah, over a period of 10 years, we spent $1 million, we'll be spending $1 million in cleaning.
Right.
So I think we'd probably be paid for a van and some vacuum cleaners in 10
Yeah.
years.
It's just the pay is going to be what.
I just see it like that. I just
Right,
see it,
right.
the
So-
big picture. In
I
10 years, we
understand.
paid $1 million to clean up buildings.
Right.
There is some opportunity for that. We did have it in the budget, as Ms. Coke just said, and we weren't able to fill those positions. And Tommy, I think Mr. Darby just backed that up. We could never fill those positions. However, I'm sure it had to do with pay, and we all know that we're going to have to pay a little bit more for certain things. But so I think for us, we'll evaluate what the right pay would be where we could potentially, because there's also, I've talked to Mr. Hall a couple of times about that maybe we have some hybrid positions where they clean a couple of days a week and maybe they cut grass a couple of days a week, to where we could get rid of some of these contracts that we have. So just kind of think out of the box a little bit.
Yeah, you probably can't get rid of not paying somebody to clean all of them, but if you
Maybe
could get
cut
somebody
back.
to clean some of them, you probably could save our county some money in the long run.
Right.
Some money we can use for something else.
Right.
Well, Mr. Hester,
Yes, sir.
years ago, the lady that answers the phone, I can't remember her name, but
Ms. Struthers?
Mr.
Struthers?
Angie Southern.
Hmm?
Ms.
she
Southern.
used to take inmates around, and they cleaned the fire department, the old fire department in Richburg, they cleaned the town hall in Richburg. When they got through, she went in there and checked behind them, made sure it was done. Now, I know the sheriff can't do that. I got that picture, guys. I got that picture. But
He said, don't bring that up.
if you.
I already
if you
talked
have
to him when I
somebody
got
that do
here,
like
so.
I talked about those guys, it takes people around and checks behind them.
All right, okay, I think that's enough on the discussion on that. We're running a few rabbits down here, so, all right, so let's go ahead and vote on this thing. I need a motion and a second on it.
I'll move that we approve the bid RFP 2223-12 for janitorial services to TJ's High Quality Cleaning Services in the amount of $8,454.45 per month for 10 locations.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
Second, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What kind of time frame is the contract for?
It's going to be for 11 months to start. Because-
But with the,
It'll be in
we
the,
know that they can be fired at any time if they're not letting them.
yes,
The back door.
right.
All right. Here, no more discussion, all in favor, say aye, raise your right hand. All in favor, unanimous
you.
vote. Thank you on that. Thank you, Ms. Cope. Okay, boards and commissions, reappointment of Berkeley Ramsey to the Radio Users Advisory Committee.
I'll move that we reappoint Barclay Ramsey to the Radio Users Advisory Committee.
You need a second?
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Guy. Any discussion? Hear none, all in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. To reappoint Bill Baxter to the Radio Users Advisory Committee. Need a motion?
I make a,
Bill Baxter. I'm not real familiar with him. Can someone say who that is?
I make a motion we appoint.
Okay, all right. Got a motion to, you need a second?
Second.
Second, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, to appoint Mr. Bill Bundy to the Catawba Regional Council of Governments. We got a resignation from Mr. Fuller on that, and also got his application for this. So I'd like to make that motion that we appoint Mr. Bill Bundy to the Catawba Regional Council of Government.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that, I have to recluse myself. He works for me.
Okay. All right.
Second.
I'll second.
Second, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Aye. All except Mr. Ager to excuse himself on that. Okay, going into executive session to receive legal advice regarding Project 2106, to receive legal advice regarding Project 2336, and to receive an update on contractual matter regarding the assessor's office, and also to receive an update on personnel matters regarding HR office, and to receive legal update regarding economic development. Need a motion to go in executive session on that.
I make a motion that we, retire into executive session.
Okay, you need a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session.